Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to Lesson 19 of Speed Puzzling 101 Tips and Tricks. Today's lesson is on setting goals for 2026. As a disclaimer, goals are different for everybody. Mine will differ from yours, and yours will be different than everybody else's. And you may need to adjust them as circumstances change, but as long as you're happy with them, then great. This is the first lesson of 2026, so let me know what you've thought about the series so far, if there's anything I should think about including or changing, and maybe any adjustments I need to make for the new year. There's a lot to look forward to in 2026 when it comes to the puzzling world, and now's the time to kind of start thinking about where your place is going to be within it. In this lesson, I'll be talking about determining goals that you may want to consider without going into too many specifics, as I don't want to influence anything. I'll be giving some examples, but there's an infinite amount of choices you can have. At the end of this video, I'll be providing some prompts to maybe help with your goal setting in different puzzling areas. If you want to know what my goals are specifically, make sure to follow my Instagram at @CanadamPuzzle, as they'll be posted on there so I can't ignore them and kind of hold myself accountable. When we think of setting goals, many of us are familiar with the SMART system. In this system, goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now I'm going to make a couple small alterations to this and change relevant to rewarding and time-bound to just time. And I'll get into that more a little bit later. First, let's focus on specific and measurable. These kind of go hand in hand. I hear from a lot of people that they want to get faster at speed puzzling, of course, or they want to do better in a competition than they did before. But what does that look like? What is faster? What is better at a competition? We have to be able to measure the result, and that leads to what a goal being more specific. For instance, at the Canadian Nationals in 2024, I finished in 10th place, while in 2025, I finished in 7th place. That is a clear improvement on a competition result from year to year. However, the puzzle time in 2024 for me was 50 minutes and 13 seconds. That was my 10th place finish, while in 2025, my final time was 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 10 seconds. Almost 17 minutes slower, but I finished 3 spots higher. So did I really get faster? This is why goal setting in speed puzzling can be a challenge. What matters most is how the goals are designed. It's not always about competitions and placings, and while that is important to a lot of people, including myself, this series has shown and will continue to show that there's a lot of different aspects to speed puzzling, and if you're improving in a bunch of smaller areas, it's going to lead to better results in the more significant moments, such as placings or overall times. So perhaps your goal will be specific on an element of speed puzzling. For example, you may want to flip over the pieces at the start of a puzzle faster. Maybe it takes you 5 minutes and you want to get it down to 4 minutes. That's clear, specific, and measurable. Maybe you want to be more careful with your border sorting. You're rushing at the start of the puzzle right now, and maybe you're missing up to 10 pieces each time. And you want to get that down to maybe just missing 3 or 4 pieces. Again, something easy to measure. It should also be specific and measurable within 2026. What do you want to achieve in this upcoming year? And in the SMART acronym, that's what time-bound was for, but we're ignoring time-bound. It's timed. Again, we'll come back to that in a minute. And remember, at the end of the video, I will include potential categories for your 2026 goals. After specific and measurable, we move on to achievable. An achievable goal is a realistic goal. I would love to be able to finish a 500-piece puzzle in 10 minutes, but that's never going to happen. That would be a ridiculous goal to set. A lot of people will be setting goals specifically around time, which is understandable. What you do need to be careful, though, when it comes to setting time goals is that the difficulty level on puzzles has a significant range. So some people may say, I want to finish every single 500-piece puzzle in under an hour, which that's fine. But again, you're going to come across a puzzle where that's just never going to happen for you or for anybody, depending on how difficult that puzzle is. So for instance, something more realistic for me and what I try to focus my timing on is I will look at the overall averages. So if I want to have my overall average time under an hour, that would make a lot more sense, because I will have some puzzles that will be easily under an hour, 55 minutes, 50 minutes, 45 minutes for a first attempt, or I'm going to have some difficult ones that are over an hour. hopefully it balances out so that my overall average time is below the goal that I've set. When it comes to maybe setting goals for competition placing, I would love to finish first every time, but again, I know that's never going to happen. So I need to think about more realistic goals and achievable goals within this category. Like I said before, my 2025 finishing place at the Canadian Nationals was 7th. Maybe my goal for 2026 is to finish in this same spot. That's easy to measure, is definitely somewhat achievable as I've already done it. But competitions change. The Canadian Nationals will be larger, probably larger this year, which means competition levels will increase the more people that are there. A lot of people are practicing, improving on different skills. So there's a lot of factors outside of my control. So maybe I choose top 10 or top 20, something that's achievable, but will still challenge me a little bit. Or I can say maybe I want the time difference between first place and myself to be smaller than it was last year. Again, something that's easy to measure and will show that maybe I'm closing the gap on that top person. Or maybe your goal is just something more fun. You want to try new brands in 2026. If you set a goal to try 300 new brands, is it achievable? It's maybe possible, but is it really achievable to do that in a single calendar year? Probably not. You might say, I'll just do one new puzzle brand this year. Okay, it's achievable, but that kind of leads to the next item. Is it rewarding? Remember, I changed in the SMART system relevant to rewarding, because of course your goals when it comes to puzzling are going to be about puzzling. So relevant is irrelevant. What I think is missing from that SMART system is that sense of accomplishment at the end. So rewarding, I think, fits in here perfectly. So is your goal rewarding to you? If your goal is to try new brands this year and you say one brand over the next 365 days, is that really rewarding, or would you have just done that anyway? Is it a goal or just a happenstance? When it comes to making something rewarding, in most cases, it does need to be a little bit challenging. I expect many goals when it comes to speed puzzling to be based around time. Maybe your overall average for a first attempt on a puzzle right now is an hour and 15 minutes or 75 minutes. And you set your goal to be your overall average time in 2026 to be 74 minutes. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable. Is it rewarding? And our level of rewarding, or the way we measure rewarding, will vary from person to person. Maybe a 1 minute increase is rewarding to you, and if so, fantastic. Go for that. If you think you can do better, then, or a lot better, consider something different. Maybe you attended the World Championships in 2025 and made the semifinals like I did, and your goal is, or your plan is to return in 2026. Make the semifinals again, and great. It's not really changing anything though. So maybe you slightly adjust that to make the semifinals and finish in the top half of participants if you didn't do that before. Maybe it's to make the finals, which is a much more challenging goal for sure. Not everyone makes the finals. You need to look at what's going to be realistic for you as well as rewarding. And finally, we get to the last little bit of criteria, which is timed. And this is specific to speed puzzling. We aren't a company, and we're not relying on specific goals to be met by specific days on a calendar. The speed puzzling season really never stops. So these goals can be hit at any different time. You might have specific goals for like a national championship or a world championship or the World Series. Whatever. Those are very strict on your time. So time-based doesn't really make sense. So let's look at what timed means. The vast majority of this channel is based around speed puzzling, and I want to make sure that speed aspect is in as many of the goals that you set for yourself as possible. Not 100% of them, but vast majority of them. So try to think of how you can include a timed aspect to your goals. For example, I said if I'm at Canadian Nationals this year, I want the time between myself and the winner to be smaller than it was last year. That is a timed aspect. If your goal is to qualify for the semifinals at the World Championships this year, great. A lot of people do make it through to the semifinals, and maybe you made it through no problem last year, or maybe you barely made it through to the semifinals last year. Either way, maybe your goal is to be 5 minutes faster or 10 minutes faster than the slowest qualifying time that also made it through to the semifinals. Again, that's a timed aspect. If your goal is to try a new brand of puzzle this year, or 5 new brands or 10 new brands, set a goal to finish that first attempt in a certain period of time. Make it very, very clear what your goal is to finish that puzzle. Again, a timed aspect. If you do follow my Instagram already, you'll see in all the puzzle recordings that are posted, there in almost every single one, there is a clear goal set on the screen. Sometimes I hit those goals, sometimes I don't, but the timed goal is always there, and it's that little bit of motivation to push me through each of those puzzles. The most important thing to remember when it comes to goal setting is that you may not achieve them all, and that's okay. That's when we kind of reset, reevaluate, and reestablish our goals for next time. So when you are trying to come up with goals, try to think of something for each of these following categories, if they apply to you. And you can have more than one for each of those categories. Number 1 is a time achievement goal. Just anything that relates to achieving a specific time. Maybe it's to get under 40 minutes on a first attempt. Clear time achievement goal. An in-person competition goal. Whatever it may be. It can be a finishing spot. It can be a finishing time. Doesn't matter. Just something that relates to an in-person competition. A virtual competition goal. There's differences between virtual and in-person. We all know that. It can be a similar goal from in-person to virtual. Maybe it's just to participate in your first virtual competition and experience what that world is like. Whatever. A number of puzzles to complete goals. How many puzzles do you hope to finish in 2026? And that might not be all new puzzles. It can just be a total amount of puzzles. Or maybe it's an average number of puzzles per day. If you are someone like me who is participating in 2 international competitions this year, I'm going to have to do a lot of training to get ready for this. So I may have a goal to complete at least 1 puzzle a day. Maybe it's 3 puzzles a day. As I get close to the competition, maybe it's 5 to 7 to 10 puzzles per day. Different goals for different periods of time, depending on circumstances. A goal for completing a specific part of a puzzle, like a flip or a shape sort or a border, just something that's small. And you can have one for each of those things I just mentioned, or something I haven't mentioned. If you can, again, in every case, if you can improve on all the little aspects, it's going to help with the overall result. And perhaps for the final one, you can think of something else where your puzzling world combines with some other aspect of your life. So for instance, I will have some goals that I will post on my Instagram that result in certain puzzle accomplishments will relate to certain fitness goals that I have for myself as well. So there's a crossover between 2 different worlds. So whatever you decide to come up with, it can be personal to you. You can make it public. I try to make some goals public. Again, it lets me be a bit more accountable. If I know other people know what my goals might be. And then there will be some that I'll keep to myself as well. More personal goals when it comes to speed puzzling or whatever it might be. If you feel like sharing what your goals are, leave a comment below. Again, make sure that you can follow my Instagram and see what the goals are that I decide on, which will be posted within the next week or so. And that is it for lesson 19 of Speed Puzzling 101 tips and tricks, and the first lesson of 2026. So hopefully we have a great year. Click like if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment if you have a question or a suggestion, or just want to leave anything, really, I don't care. And make sure to subscribe to see more. Thank you for everyone that subscribed in 2025. As of this video, just over the 600 subscriber mark, which is more than I thought I would have at this point. So very thankful to everyone that's subscribed so far and been following along on this channel. I will see you next week for another lesson. If one of your goals is to improve your non-dominant hand ability, it is a lesson that you will not want to miss. And I will also be giving out a challenge in that video, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. That is it. Class dismissed, and as always, Happy puzzling. Bye.